Tributor, a new clinically proven carbohydrate blocker engineered to lower the glycemic index of foods and reduce post-meal glucose and insulin spikes. What's the number one cause of global obesity? Sugar, not fat, is the key culprit. More and more evidence mounts every day. Scientific publications around the world continually validate a direct correlation between sugar consumption and obesity. The problem has been widely recognized and preventative measures discussed, planned, and implemented. However, the consumption of sweets actually goes deeper than just causing weight gain. More concerning, and still yet to be fully understood, is the effect that long-lasting sugar consumption has on your metabolism. Obesity is just one disorder composing a broader condition defined by physicians as metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is defined as a combination of obesity, hypertension, prediabetes or diabetes, liver steatosis, and lipid disorders. High sugar intakes lead directly to post-meal glucose and insulin spikes and to reactive hypoglycemia, drop in glucose levels. There are three aspects of carbohydrate digestion that must be addressed: management of glucose spikes, management of insulin spikes, and a food's glycemic index. Glucose and insulin spikes. High intake of carbohydrates, especially in the form of meals with a high glycemic index, leads immediately to post-meal glucose spikes in your blood. In reaction to a glucose spike, your pancreas produces insulin, the key hormone responsible for blood glucose regulation. The body's rapid insulin reaction often results in glucose dropping below the level prior to eating the sugar-rich snack or meal. Once the body senses a low glucose level, a hunger response is activated, leading to sugar-rich food cravings. Such a cycle of glucose peaks and valleys leads to a craving and snacking pattern that then results in high-calorie and sugar-rich food consumption, making it very challenging to control weight gain and quite likely leading to obesity. Over time, glucose and insulin spikes are harmful far beyond just craving and snacking cycles. The glucose or insulin spike is defined as the difference between an individual's baseline glucose and insulin levels and the highest measured level post-meal. Many scientific publications and clinical trials have shown a strong correlation between repeated glucose and insulin spikes in various health conditions. Such spikes lead to cardiovascular disease, oxidative stress, higher risk of diabetes, and obesity. Insulin not only reduces the glucose level in our blood, but more importantly, it is responsible for the storage of nutrients, mainly sugar and fat, in various tissues. Consistently elevated glucose levels lead to continuously high insulin levels that result in insulin resistance over time. The next phase of insulin resistance is hyperinsulinemia, which happens when the pancreas consistently overproduces insulin. In the case of hyperinsulinemia, fat is stored in excess and the breakdown of fat becomes more and more difficult. Thus, even in a state of hunger, fat is not released from fat tissue as a backup energy source due to such a high insulin level, which leads to overeating and a nearly unavoidable path to weight gain. Therefore, management of glucose and insulin spikes is critical to maintaining an overall healthy metabolism, weight, and cardiovascular system. Glycemic index. Glycemic index and glycemic load describe the role of carbohydrate digestion and glucose absorption into the bloodstream. Meals low in glycemic index result in lower post-meal increases of glucose and insulin levels. Depending on the type of carbohydrate and the speed of glucose release, foods can be identified as high, moderate, or low glycemic index. Findings from numerous studies indicate that lower glycemic index diets decrease the risk of type 2 diabetes, may prevent and control abdominal obesity, and metabolic disorders. At the same time, high glycemic index diets are associated with significantly increased risk of cardiovascular diseases, especially for women, and type 2 diabetes. Presenting Tributor, an all-natural proprietary carbohydrate blocker that uses a comprehensive three-phase action to inhibit the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates and reduces a food's glycemic index and post-meal glucose and insulin spikes. Tributor's safety and efficacy has been validated in clinical trials using carbohydrate-rich meals, during which the optimal dose and ratio of ingredients have been proven effective. How does Tributor work? As with most nutrients, carbohydrates must be digested to their simplest form in order to reach the bloodstream. Beginning as complex carbohydrates, they next break down into disaccharides, and finally into the simplest monosaccharide form, glucose. Tributor contains a complex combination of standardized extracts of white bean, white mulberry, and green coffee. The combination works synergistically to inhibit the different stages of carbohydrate digestion and absorption. Phazolamine from white bean extract inhibits the digestion of starch into disaccharides. Starch is a polysaccharide present in rice, spaghetti, bread, and potatoes. White mulberry extract reduces the digestion of disaccharides, which is the sugar we eat in candy, soft drinks, and many baked goods. Finally, green coffee extract, which is rich in chlorogenic acid, inhibits the intestinal absorption of glucose. These three phases contribute to Tributor's best-in-class results when it comes to reducing harmful glucose and insulin spikes. Tributor's efficacy has been clinically validated during human trials performed on very specific carbohydrate-rich meals, such as cereal, pasta, yogurt and muffin, corn chips and soda. Overall, these carbohydrate-rich food trials performed on Tributor demonstrated up to a 45% reduction in glucose peaks and up to a 38% reduction in insulin peaks. Additionally, tests confirmed that episodes of post-meal hypoglycemia, which lead to sugar cravings, occurred 3 times less frequently when using Tributor. It has also been clinically confirmed that when Tributor is consumed 15 minutes before a meal, the glycemic index of food is reduced. The reduction of glycemic index after consumption of Tributor alters many daily meals to a lower glycemic index rating. Tributor can be used any time of the day, whether before a full meal or the muffin accompanying your coffee. It responds to many challenges of modern lifestyles. Tributor is available in single-dose format, which is easily dissolved in water and should be consumed 15 minutes before carbohydrate-rich meals. Tributor, the most effective carb blocker on the market today.